Welcome back to ARC PDX. Today is Juneteenth, a day that commemorates the end of slavery in the United States. And there are many ways to celebrate here in Oregon, including a parade and a festival in North Portland that goes back over 50 years. So joining us this morning is Heather Coleman-Cox, the Media Relations Director for Juneteenth Oregon. Good morning and happy Juneteenth, Heather.
Good morning, Wesley. Thank you for having me. Happy Juneteenth.
Of course, it's great to have you here today. Okay, so first, can you just give us an idea of what Juneteenth actually is and the history of the holiday?
Okay, yes. So Juneteenth is the celebration of the end of slavery in the Confederate States, not the entire United States, but the Confederate States in America. 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was passed, there were still slaves in Galveston, Texas, that did not get the word. On June 19th of 1865, Major General Gordon Granger, along with 2,000 Union troops, arrived in Galveston, Texas, and they let the slaves know in that area that they had been free 2.5 years earlier per the Emancipation Proclamation.
Yeah, and it's horrifying to just think about all the lives lost and everything that happened in that amount of time as well. Heather, why is it so important to celebrate Juneteenth, especially now, especially this year?
So it is American history, first of all. And secondly, with all the changes and the things happening with the current administration, the attack on DEI, the initiative to change history, it's very important that we stick to what is actually factual in terms of what American history is. And celebrating Juneteenth and the contributions of my ancestors to this country that made it the powerhouse it is very important.
So tell us how we celebrate Juneteenth here in Oregon and how people can get involved if they'd like to.
Okay, so we are in our 53rd year of celebrating Juneteenth here in Oregon. We start off with a parade honoring our founder, Clara May Peoples. So we start with the Clara Peoples Freedom Trail Parade, and that parade has grown by leaps and bounds. When I started with Juneteenth Oregon, about 10 years ago, we had maybe 200 people in our parade. Now we're looking at 1,100 people. So that parade has grown by leaps and bounds. And after the parade, we end up at Lillis Albina Park, and we have our community celebration. We have artists come, musicians come out. We have history being told. We have a kids area. We have a beer and wine garden, and a lot of vendors, local vendors, are showcasing their retail products. And it's just a huge event, family oriented, community oriented, and it's just wonderful to come out and celebrate.
You know, Juneteenth wasn't even dedicated as a federal holiday until 2021. What did that declaration mean to you personally, Heather?
To me personally, it meant that this country has grown up, that it's actually acknowledging its creed, that, you know, it stands for liberty and justice for all, to admit that you know, this tragedy happened for 246 years, and to honor it, it means a lot to me, a great deal to me, that on a national level, we can acknowledge what happened and celebrate it.
Are you worried at all about, the future of Juneteenth being recognized as a holiday with the Trump administration's rollback of the DEI programs?
A little bit. We have lost some sponsors as a result of that DEI letter that went out to, different organizations across the country. But in terms of the celebration, no, I'm not worried about that not happening any longer, because states have the power to override or to do what they want in their state. So as long as every state that is currently celebrating Juneteenth maintains that, I'm going to remain happy and optimistic that the federal government will follow suit.
Great. How can the broader community give their support to Oregon's Black community on this Juneteenth holiday?
Well, with today being Juneteenth and the popularity of it, there's so many different celebrations going on everywhere. Gresham, Tigard, Beaverton, Hillsborough. Our event is taking place on Saturday, June 21st, with the parade and then the event from noon to 7 p.m. at Lillis Albina. But there are a lot of Portland metropolitan areas that are celebrating Juneteenth today. And I encourage people to go out and get involved, to take place, to be a part of the celebrations.
Heather Coleman-Cox with Juneteenth Oregon. I love and appreciate talking to you every time. Thank you so much for being on the show this morning.
Thank you, Wesley. Have a great Juneteenth.
You too. Happy Juneteenth.